Hi, I'm Benjamin from Airtame, and in this video I'll show you how you can make your own custom widgets to add to your Google Slides to show important information like weather forecasts. With Airtame, you can choose to show Google slideshows live, and it will automatically update those slideshows on your Airtame screens as the slides are changing. Now, most people will use Google Slides by manually going in and editing the content they want, but Google Slides actually offers a really nice scripting tool, making it possible to not only add custom scripts to do things to your slides, but also schedule when those jobs should run. So this will be a slightly more technical walkthrough of how to set this up. But keep in mind that you can choose to write with an AI chatbot explaining exactly what you want it to do, and through a bit of trial and error, most people would actually be able to get a custom script up and running that works with Google Slides. But for this demonstration, I will be focusing on making my own custom weather widget to add to the footer of my slideshow. So for this demonstration, I've made a basic slideshow. It consists of 3 different slides, and on purpose, I have left a bit of extra room in the bottom of each of these slides, so I don't have any important text or images at the bottom of these slides, which makes it possible for me to add a script that will automatically add this footer where I want to show the weather forecast for the next couple of days. So in order to actually do the script, I'm going to go into extension and then open the app script menu. This will show an option for adding a lot of custom code or writing your own custom script to do whatever you want with this slideshow. So this specific script will actually be shared. So if you're interested in this specific weather widget, head to the video description and click the link, and you'll be able to copy this entire script and just paste it in here and basically run it and use it out of the box. To make this script even more flexible and easy to use, we start out by defining a lot of more general variables for this script. So first off, we have the location settings, where you can add the latitude and longitude of the position of where you want the weather forecast to be measured from. And then a location name, which is simply going to be shown on the slideshow to indicate that this is the weather forecast for Copenhagen and not somewhere else. You can also choose if you want to show the temperature unit in Celsius or Fahrenheit. And you have the option of adding 3 different color codes to define the background color, as well as 2 different text colors for the widget to better make it fit your own slides. But in general, the way you will prepare these scripts, if you're making them from scratch, is actually considering exactly what you want the program to do. So in my case, I generally split it up into 3 different logics. The first thing we want to do is have Google call some weather service and then get some basic data back on what the weather is going to be like for the next couple of days. When we get this data back, it might be pretty plain, meaning all we're getting are the number value of the temperatures and maybe a little text piece saying it might be cloudy or rainy. But the next thing we want to do is then take that information about the weather and then turn it into icons we can actually show to make it a bit more nice to look at. So that's the second step, is taking this information and using a service to automatically fetch the right icons based on the information we have. And then lastly, we need to pull it all together into the widget. We need to define what the widget should look like, what information we want to show, and the position of every single element, including the icons and any label that we want to put next to the icons. So once we scroll past this section of overall settings, we will see a lot of different functions, and these functions will generally focus on doing this, these 3 steps I described. So if I scroll past the overall update weather footer function, we get the get weather data function. It is using an open AI called openmedio.com, but of course you could connect it to another weather service or another service altogether that doesn't fetch the weather, but maybe it fetches something completely different that is useful for you. Once we fetch the data, we want to load it in and basically save it as the often JSON format that we're getting, and then use it in other contexts. We want to modify the data, like I said, taking the name of the weather and then converting it into an icon we can use. We also have a function for actually deleting or cleaning up some of the older weather elements. So whenever we update the slides, we basically want to delete the old widget and add the new widget with the new information. So it's important to consider that we're not just putting another piece of text or another icon on top of an old icon. We then also want to actually create this weather display. Like I said, this is where we have a lot more of the formatting information in here, how high should the footer actually be, and the position of every single element, and in some cases running a loop, meaning that we want to show an icon and a name and some temperatures, but we want to do that for every single day that we have. So basically we do the same thing, in this case 5 times in a row. So we do everything inside of a loop, so we know that each little area of daily weather reports is going to be consistent and look the same. And of course we then move this entire information further and further to the right, so multiple days do not appear on top of each other, but rather next to each other. So lastly, like I said, we have the weather URL icon. In our case, we're getting the icons from openweathermap.org, where we can take a number value from 0 to 99, where 0 would be clean or clear sky, and 99 would be a thunderstorm, and then adding different breakpoints where we want to basically say when you have this number, we want to show a different icon instead. So with this information, we can basically take a value between 0 and 99 and convert it into a pretty little icon that we can use on our slideshow. But like I said, if you want to look more into this specific code, you will be able to find it by clicking the link in the video description. So with all of this ready, all I have to do, at least to test this out, is to select the update weather footer function, which is going to be the general function that activates everything, and then I will click on the run button. So this will force the script to run right now. It will contact the API, get the weather information. It will then, for each of the next 5 days, get the icons that it needs, and it's then going to build the entire widget and place it not only on my first slide, but on every single slide in my presentation. So if I head back to my presentation now, you will see that every single slide had this little footer added to the presentation. Now, of course, everything in this is completely customizable. Maybe you only want the forecast to appear on every other slide, or maybe you only want it to appear on the first slide and not the other ones. Everything can be completely customizable using the JavaScript. So this is all pretty nice. I can go in, I can manually click a button and then start the script, and I will see what today's weather forecast is like. But what happens if I don't want to go in and click a button every day? Well, this is where the scripts really become powerful, because you can go in and you can actually set up triggers. And these triggers can either be based on something happening, or it could simply be based on the time of day. So I could say I want to run this update weather footer script, and I want it to be time driven. And let's say I want to run it every day, and I want to run it maybe in the early hours of the day, so I know that when I show up, I will have today's weather forecast appearing on my screen. And just by hitting save, I have now added a schedule for when this code should auto run again. And I will be able to always look at this slideshow and know that this is going to be today's date, and the next 4 days are going to be displayed as well, with the maximum and minimum temperature, as well as a nice icon explaining what type of weather I should expect on these days. So this has been a pretty specific example of doing a weather widget, but as you can probably see, using the code, you can basically write code to do whatever you want, interacting with other services, using APIs to get information from other sources, and then converting it into something that you want to add to your slideshow. And by adding a schedule to it, you can have the code run over and over again, so what you see on the slide is always completely up to date. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.